Hey, fellas, this movie is what I knew about the race and I've heard about it, the car, but never have I experienced it or seen what you guys go through to prepare for this, which is just crazy with the car race against the desert. How was it to have a camera with you while you're trying to train for this competition that's so intense and you need to focus on and 100% of your time?
Well, I could definitely say it's definitely motivating, right? Like when there's a camera on you, you're gonna do your best, right?
Mhm.
Same thing when they got the helicopters over you in the race. I feel like just makes you want to go fast. So definitely made me try harder. That's for sure.
Seth?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different vibe going into this race when you have not just little cameras, you got some big cameras around you, and they're trying to gain the interactions that you don't usually speak about. They're behind closed doors with you. They're at your house. They're watching you train. They're basically judging every moment that we're doing, but not to the extent that we judge ourselves. But yeah, definitely a weird scenario to be in, but a really fun one because you want to show everybody who you are and how good you can be, how good you hopefully are at that moment, and yeah, have it all documented in the end.
Yeah. And the one thing, two different vehicles that you're racing in. Seth, you're more of a traditional desert doom bike type of vehicle where you're in a motorcycle. What in a dirt bike? It has to be like Mason, it has to be for you a different mindset going in and how you're training, especially for a course that you have no idea what to expect.
Yeah, for sure. Throughout the year, we do a lot of training on road books, making maps throughout the desert, over mountains, through mountains. Try to find any kind of terrain that you've never seen before. Always looking for new trails and just hoping that by the time you finally get to Saudi Arabia, you find something similar, right? Like wide open deserts and cactus, and it's pretty gnarly for sure.
Yep. Do you find anything close to what you're experiencing in Saudi Arabia here in California?
Yeah, actually, Johnson Valley is super similar. I'm sure Seth can attest to that. Like, I know he spent some time out there, just open desert, bushwhacking. Obviously, doesn't feel as good in Saudi to go through the bushes because they have major thorns on them. But yeah, for sure, the training is pretty good out here in these deserts.
And Seth, for you, when you're going into this, it's a different scenario. You actually have a partner with you as well. Uh, but it's the same type of mindset where you don't know anything could happen while you're out there and you're in this race. When you're training for this and preparing for this, what is your aspect and your mindset going into it?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a big difference between the bikes and cars at this point. The bikes are, most days opening and it's a cat and mouse game going back and forth, with navigation and who wants to open the road. And the car game's changed a lot over the past few years. It's, obviously we're not navigating as hard. We obviously can't take the same lines that the bike guys are doing or, um, we're going a little bit quicker on pace just because we have four wheels and not scared to crash or get hurt. So yeah, the bike guys have it super rough, and then when they're opening the road, it's a whole different ball game. I mean, we're going at 110%, and I can't attest to what the bike guys do. I don't think they're going to go 110% all day when they're opening, but even as a car guy, when you're first on road or when you're 15th on road, everybody's going 110%. So I think the training between the two are very different. I think the bike guys need to focus a lot on endurance and navigation, and obviously that coming with that is their speed. But I mean, in the cars, we're just having to go 110% all the time. So there's so many fast guys, and that's kind of what it's turned into. It's turned into less navigation and more who's the fastest guy.
I
Mhm.
do agree on the bikes. It is a lot like a sprint race. Honestly, you stall the bike once, and the odds of winning the stage are so slim because the times are so close. And obviously, the pace isn't the same because we don't have well, the front guys don't have a highway of tracks, obviously. And like you said, you have to find your own ways around the same stuff we're going through. But for sure, it feels like we're giving it our all because, I mean, you're just bouncing off every boulder in the sand, and then the cars get there, and then the cars rip all the boulders. Then the bike guys that you guys are passing through the day, then they find the boulders, and it gets gnarly out there for sure. I think everybody's got to be pushing hard, even if you're in the back, because It's definitely a lot of effort to sit on a bike for 10 hours a day. You want to get off that thing as soon as possible. I'm sure you too. And then you got to get on in the liaison, right?
The
And
worst part,
dude,
the worst part of that race is all the road stuff we have
it
to do.
never ends, really.
Yeah, like watching the documentaries, watching some of the bike guys lying down while racing because
Yeah,
they sit there
the
for
feet off
hours.
the back.
Yeah, that just like riding bikes like I have. I could imagine riding for that long. Eventually just feeling that vibration through your body. You're just like, dude, I just can't anymore.
Yeah, I don't know how it is in the car, but your butt gets pretty worn out for sure.
Well, I mean, at least you guys can stand up and move around. We're strapped down to our butts all the entire day. So
Yeah, for
we're
sure.
pretty sore for sure. I think the lower back and everything
Does your
else.
car have the suspension in the seats now or no?
No, so that doesn't come until 2027.
Okay, I was wondering about that. That's interesting for sure. That'll be huge for the car guys.
Going to help a lot.
Yeah. And one thing with the vehicles, since you're alone out there, how is the heat factor with on your vehicles? And what are some of the things that you've experienced while racing out there since you've done this already? What are some of the challenges when it comes to the mechanics and the heat in Saudi Arabia, and how does it affect your mindset when you're racing in different environments when it comes to the mechanics?
Well, I'm sure I don't get as hot as Seth does in that car. I don't know if he has AC or what, but I'm sure it's not like that. The only thing we can really do on bikes is look for the gusts of wind, and we even run like vented boots. All our gear is paper thin to try to get as much wind airflow. But besides that, we kind of go through it all because, like you might have seen in the movie, there's some gnarly water days as well. So it's kind of hard to prepare for a day at Dakar, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, during the movie, I was in the Can-Am and obviously it wasn't get as hot because it was an open car, didn't have a windshield, but definitely tough when you can't get away from the heat and you're sitting on top of a motor. But now what I'm doing in these T1s, the year after we filmed this, it's I think we're sitting at about 130-degree heat with a race suit on and can't move, and we have what we call AC, but it's really just a fan blowing and it's
Yeah.
blowing hot air. So no, it definitely gets pretty warm in there. The only thing I can do is literally open my window that's about 6 inches long, and I try to cut my hand and make it blow into my face, and that's about all I can do there.
It's funny, the faster you go, the hotter you get. And you'd think that the wind would help, but really it's just like burning you more, you know? Like
Yeah.
you can
Oh,
feel the friction of the wind hitting you. So
yeah.
I
Like
mean on a bike at least.
I get it. Like when I'm driving through the desert going to Vegas when it's 110, 120, you lower down that window and it just burns your eyes. So I can only imagine what you guys go through racing and trying to keep that concentration
The
during.
wrist hands on the bike get gnarly. And the nose, man.
The craziest thing to me about the heat is the fluctuation of weight that we lose with water, with like how much water we lose and how much water we have
Yeah.
to. And we're probably fluctuating, 3 to I'd say 8 pounds a day, well, just from water weight.
Yeah, for sure. I noticed that a lot on the bike as well. That I mean, it's gnarly when the wind's draining all your sweat, you know? And
Yeah.
it's hard to stay up with the nutrition.
Yep.
And that's what it's fascinating. I love the fact that this documentary really shows all aspects of what you guys go through, from the training process in your beginning stages all the way to the race, which is just, you don't get to see that a lot.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I think a lot of people are going to get a really huge appreciation for what type of sport this is. Because a lot of people think of racing as it just being, they see IndyCar, they see NASCAR, they see some of the BMX and motorbike stuff that we see at different stadiums or motocross, but they don't normally see this type of race in this type of environment. How excited are you that the amount of fan base that will be growing because of seeing what you guys do and the hard work you put in to just be out there and to be able to survive this race?
Well, I'm definitely hoping that this thing gets big because the amount of people who even know what Dakar is in the US at least is not very big. It's definitely been growing over the last couple of years with Ricky and a couple of the car guys winning. So that's been really huge, and I I hope this only makes it much bigger, you know. Definitely make it easier to find sponsors to keep coming back.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot's going to change after this movie gets pushed out. it's gonna be nice for people to see what it actually means to go racing and the things you have to do, and not just see the glory of it. Because I think we're all, false advertised by social media on what we actually do and what it goes through. I don't think people, show the struggles as much as we should, to be honest. And that's exactly what this movie's doing. This movie is basically putting us, watching people put us through the ringer, and everyone's going to hopefully enjoy watching us suffer, because we enjoy it, even though it sounds a little bit crazy. We do, enjoy the pain and suffering, and it's all for the reward in the end. So it's nice to have somebody with you to document the hardships and document what it truly means, and learn more about your character. Because I know we've watched it with multiple different motorsports. I think people fall in love with character too. I mean, people are gonna see different sides of us that they've never seen. That's not just the racing side, and maybe it'll bring people into attention more to the sport, and hopefully it'll keep growing bigger and bigger.
Yeah, because that's the one thing. This is a fascinating, interesting, and exciting sport, and I really do hope it grows because to see what you guys go through is just amazing. It's completely amazing. And one thing I do want to touch on, we're coming close to the end of this interview, but I want to touch on sponsorships. We do get a lot of corporations and people who may possibly see this. How was it like to, I know Mason, you were really fighting to find sponsorships.
Yeah, for sure. It's
What
not
was it
easy.
like? And if you're still going through that, and what is it like? And Seth, for you as well.
Yeah, I'm still going through it, for sure. Since that year, I obviously with KTM, things are not so strong right now. They're going through some financial issues. So I didn't have a ride for the rest of the next season. Um, Made it really difficult. I put together like 60 grand in the last month of the year before Dakar to make it. My bike showed up at the last second. It was like a gnarly story, right? But then at the end of that race, again, I'm like, I still have nothing, right? And the real struggle is to find yourself on like a factory team, right? But I found myself thinking back now that I got to ride with the Honda Brazil team and riding with KTM, I guess the first 2 years was pretty nice. The thing I liked the most was when you do it with your family, when I can bring my dad and our friends and they're my mechanic. And obviously, you need a good bike, you need good equipment to get the results that we're all after. But that's the hard thing, right? Is being able to afford doing it the nice way with your family. And sometimes it's easier to go with the team. Well, it's almost always easier, right? You don't have to worry about the mechanic, the logistics, organizing all that stuff. And that's what we've been doing the last couple of years is organizing simple things like tires or like your FIM license, right? Seth has the FIA. It's different, right? But all different rules, different costs. Um, Stuff you normally don't have to worry about when you have a manager, right? Which is pretty convenient. And I pretty much just have me, my mom, my dad, my brother, my girlfriend. So it's pretty difficult. And as well as the fact that, like we talked about earlier, not many people know what Dakar is in the States. So it's kind of hard to convince people to invest in a sport they know nothing about. That's what I'm really hoping this movie can help is spread awareness about the sport because it is a gnarly sport, right? I would say it's one of the gnarliest.
Mhm.
So hopefully we can get this out there with the movie.
Yeah, and Mason, I mean, that's one of the, and also too, that's a big advantage too to have your family a part of this because then they know what you've gone through. They know the equipment, they know everything. They're working on it all the time. So if anything were to ever happen, they know how to fix it within a fly.
Yeah, we've been
Yeah,
doing it our whole lives, so it's
yeah,
it's good to go with people you trust.
yeah, exactly. And Seth, what about you?
Yeah, kind of, similar story. Fortunate enough, I have been able to be a part of a factory team. I've been part of now Toyota Guys Racing for the past 2 years, but yeah, kind of same situation. Growing up, I had to do it all on my own, and learn at a very young age how to become an adult, and talk to these sponsors, and try to find any ounce of help. And it was me, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, my brother-in-law, and a couple of my friends, and that's about all we had for many many years. And then coming into Dakar, was fortunate enough to you know be in a good enough position to where I could join the OT3 program, and then kind of move on from there. But still, even when you're, a, let's say factory driver, you're going back and forth with 15, 20, 30 other guys, and they're trying to take your spot. So it's pretty cutthroat nonstop. And it's, yeah, kind of a hard one to swallow. I mean, I know things are definitely harder when you're a privateer. I've been there. I've been through the struggles. I've built all my own cars for many years and ran the logistics side of it. But I thought life was going to get a lot simpler once I got into the factory program, and obviously it has in a lot of aspects, but mentally and it's been so much more draining and taxing on myself just to, I've got all these corporate companies looking at me. They're sponsoring me for a reason. I mean, they believe in me for this reason, and if I let them down, then it feels worse than when I was just letting myself down when I was running my own program. So yeah, obviously in a lot of aspects, it's been a lot easier. It's been a lot more fun. It's been, this and that, but it's definitely been really tough to feel like you have to be the best every single time you step foot. Not saying when you're a privateer you have an excuse, but when I was a privateer and I would get beat by, let's say, a factory guy or somebody that came from money, I'd be like, all right, well, I
The
think
mental side of it is way better, right?
yeah, for sure. And I'm like, well, maybe I lost because of this, or maybe I lost because of that. And I could, make these excuses in my own brain because I was running it. And now that I'm a part of the best and I'm racing against the best, I have no excuses. When I lose, I lose. And I feel like I'm letting people down. And that's a whole different mental ball game compared to what I was used to doing.
Definitely a different focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, hopefully this does bring in some sponsors, get some help for you guys. I mean, you're two California guys. We got to support our California people and help them when it comes to these races because you guys do some amazing work out there. Continue the great work, and I really hope this documentary shines a new light, brings in some money for the sport for you guys, and be able to continue for a long time, way past my age already. Because I don't know if I would. I just turned 50. I don't know if I could do this.
Yeah, I don't know about Seth, but for sure I'd like to continue staying out there riding in the desert, having fun every week. So
I've been doing it since I was 4, so I think I'm not
let's
quitting it.
keep it going, this
Yeah.
will hopefully make a difference.
It's in your blood. It's in your blood. When you've done it for that long, it's in your blood. It's who you are, and continue the great work. Cannot wait for everybody to see this documentary. Thank you so much, fellas, for stopping with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.